This is WTVM News Leader 9.
A Columbus woman is arrested after police say her 3 young children were found wandering in the street. We'll tell you where it happened. A man threatens his family, then keeps a SWAT team at bay for 8 hours. We'll tell you how the standoff came to an end and what charges he's facing. And did the government negotiate with terrorists in the release of an American POW? The administration says no, but many in Congress say yes. We'll examine the debate. Hello and welcome to News Leader 9 at noon. I'm Chuck Leonard. We thank you for joining us. A Columbus woman is in big trouble over the welfare of her 3 small children. Police were called after a neighbor discovered them wandering the street alone early this morning. News Leader 9's Janine Donaldson joins us now with more details. Good afternoon, Janine.
Good afternoon. Police rushed over to the Colonial Apartments on Tickner Drive after neighbors called reporting they saw 3 small children wandering the street alone. 22-year-old Tia Randall was arrested for allegedly leaving her 3 young children home alone. Police and the Department of Children and Family Services arrived just before 1 a.m. and waited with the 2-, 4-, and 6-year-old children for almost 4 hours. That's when police say Randall showed up and was arrested. She's charged with 3 counts of reckless conduct. The 3 children were unharmed and have been placed in the care of a relative. Randall is expected to appear in Recorder's Court tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Your news leader will be in the court for the hearing. For WTVM News Leader 9, I'm Janine Donaldson.
Thanks, Janine. Now to a developing story out of East Alabama. A man is clinging to life after being shot in Auburn last night. The victim, whose name has not been released, was airlifted to Midtown Medical Center in Columbus. He's in critical condition. Auburn police say the shooting happened outside Stonecrest Apartments on Opelika Road. They have not made any arrests. An Opelika man is in custody following an 8-hour standoff with a Lee County SWAT team. Police say it began when Walter Coles threatened to harm his family members. They told police that Coles has mental problems and was not taking his medication. Officers finally arrested the 50-year-old around 8 last night after lobbing tear gas into his home. He's charged with domestic violence and 5 counts of menacing. A Georgia toddler is scheduled for more surgery today, 4 days after being severely burned by a flash grenade during a police raid. The 19-month-old from northeast Georgia is being treated at Grady Hospital in Atlanta. The Habersham County Sheriff says officers followed proper procedure but would not have used the grenade had they known children were in the home. A lawyer for the family disagrees and would like to see the officers prosecuted.
And good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you. You know, the calendar officially flipped yesterday. We're officially now into June, which of course is the start of the hurricane season. And when we look at the hurricanes early in the season, it's usually a quiet time of year, but these are the areas we look at. Here in the Gulf of Mexico is one area we look for possible development. Also here into the Western Caribbean, also another region. And the last region is really up toward the Bahamas. So all 3 areas are generally right near the United States. The waters out here haven't quite warming up just yet to get there, but this is the regions we look for. And only about 6% of the named storms happen during the month of June. They do happen, but they're pretty rare when they do occur. Now we are looking at some clouds in some areas of severe weather out in the Gulf of Mexico, but the National Hurricane Center is not expecting anything to develop at this time. And we'll keep a close watchful eye on this as we head through the season. Bringing it here closer to home as we're taking a look at current conditions across our area. Just some clouds across the Chattahoochee Valley, and it's going to remain kind of cloudy and a bit on the cool side. We have a weak cool air wedge in place, and that's kind of keeping our temperatures down just a little bit. A little light rain shower activity down toward the south earlier this morning has since fizzled on out. So the rain chance is going to stay relatively low. We're going to need a little more daytime heating to perhaps bubble up some more of those showers like we saw yesterday. We had just under a quarter-inch rain yesterday. Currently 73 degrees here in Columbus, 73 in Eufaula, and 75 in LaGrange. So everybody getting a break from the summertime heat. And today's temperatures will be up and around the lower 80s for highs this afternoon, and then back into the low 70s as we head toward the overnight hours. Coming up a little bit later, we'll talk about that big warm-up promise for later in the work week.
Greg, thank you much. An American soldier's return home from captivity has become a huge political story. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is receiving treatment at a U.S. hospital in Germany, but the lines are being drawn back home over whether the terms of his release were against the law. Joe Johns has more on Bergdahl's journey.
A good day.
Yes, it's a good day.
A day after the president's emotional celebration with Bo Bergdahl's parents in the Rose Garden, tough questions for his national security advisor, Susan Rice, on CNN's State of the Union with Candy Crowley.
Point blank, did the U.S. negotiate with terrorists for his release? Candy, what we did was ensure that, as always, the United States doesn't leave a man or a woman on the battlefield.
Rice said what she called the acute urgency of Bergdahl's failing health justified not telling Congress 30 days beforehand as the law requires.
So there was a conscious decision to break the law as you know it, dealing with the detainees and the release of them?
Candy, no. The Department of Defense consulted with the Department of Justice, and it is our view that it was appropriate and necessary to do this in order to bring Sergeant Bergdahl back safely.
And Rice said Qatar's emir had assured President Obama the 5 Taliban Guantanamo detainees swapped for Bergdahl would not pose a significant risk.
There are restrictions on their movement and behavior. I'm not at liberty to get into detail about the precise nature of those restrictions.
Republican Mike Rogers, the House Intelligence Chairman, countered that there's now a price on American soldiers' heads.
So we have a changing footprint in Afghanistan, which would put our soldiers at risk for this notion that if I can get one, I can get 5 Taliban released.
But Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel insisted this was about saving a soldier's life.
We didn't negotiate with terrorists. Sergeant Bergdahl is a prisoner of war.
Joe Johns with that story. Georgia Senator Saxby Chambliss, by the way, released a statement Sunday concerning the release of Sergeant Bergdahl. Although he said he was pleased with the soldier's safe return, he says he is, quote, deeply troubled that the Obama administration did not notify Congress. Well, the news of the release and impending return brought a sigh of relief for the U.S. and the military, but nowhere did the news hit home more than Bergdahl's hometown of Haley, Idaho. Yellow ribbons and balloons line the main street, symbols of solidarity for a hometown hero who has finally been set free.
We're waiting for Bo. It's more we're anxious. We're anxious to get him home, get him here with us, and we know it's going to be a long process, but we're hoping that day comes sooner rather than later.
An annual Bring Back Bo event that was already scheduled for next month is now changing its name to Bo is Back. Once Bergdahl receives treatment in Germany, it's believed he will be transferred to the Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio. The controversy surrounding Bergdahl's release has become a hot topic for our viewers. So News Leader 9 wants to know how you feel about the U.S. negotiating for his release with the captured soldiers. You can find the poll on our website, WTVM.com. And feel free to leave a comment on the story on our WTVM Facebook page as well. Fort Benning will be one of 3 military sites taking part in a joint training exercise. It starts today and runs through June 13th. According to officials at Fort Benning, about 800 soldiers will take part and will include service members from Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah and Moody Air Force Base in Valdosta. Authorities say helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft will be used, along with training, ammunition, and other devices aimed at making the exercise as realistic as possible. Hey, you still have time to help your favorite charity win $5,000. All it takes is a vote in WTVM's Give 9 campaign. We've received more than 1,100 nominations over the past 2 months, and we've narrowed the list of 5 finalists. They are the Autism Hope Center, Liberty Theater and Cultural Center, the New Life Second Chance Outreach, Peddling for Kids, and Warrior Outreach. To cast your ballot, text GIVE9 to 40909, then follow the prompts to vote for the charity you'd like to see win. Alabama's primary election is tomorrow, with voters choosing their candidates for the general election in November. Governor Robert Bentley faces 2 challengers on the Republican ballot, while 2 Democrats are also seeking the same office. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Central Time. News Leader 9, of course, will offer full coverage of election results. Federal officials are investigating a plane crash that left 7 people dead. Hear what they know so far about the fiery accident. And the White House is taking on climate change. We'll let you know about the next step in curbing carbon emissions around the world.
And temperatures this morning were pretty comfortable across the region, down to 67 here in Columbus. How's the rest of the work week looking? We'll have a detailed look at that forecast coming up right after the break.